My girlfriend asked for no contact to heal herself. I'm giving her exactly what she wanted, so this happened 3 weeks ago, and I'm still processing it. My girlfriend Christine and I have been together for almost 2 years, living together for the past 8 months in a nice apartment downtown. Things had been rocky lately. She's been distant, secretive with her phone, and spending a lot more time at her Pilates studio with this new instructor, Owen. Looking back, I should have seen it coming. About 2 months ago, Christine started diving deep into what she called personal development. It started innocently enough, a wellness workshop here, a self-help book there. But then it became her whole personality. Every conversation somehow turned into her explaining boundaries, trauma responses, or toxic patterns. She'd quote these books like gospel and analyze every interaction through this new lens she'd discovered. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for personal growth, but it felt less like she was growing and more like she was building a case against our relationship. The worst part was how she started using this language as a weapon. If I asked her to help with dishes, I was being controlling. If I wanted to spend time together, I was being codependent. Everything I did got filtered through this framework where I was somehow the problem that needed fixing. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night that I'll never forget. She'd been coming home later and later from her Pilates sessions, always with some explanation about extended workshops or community building. That night she walked in around 9:30, barely acknowledged me watching TV, and went straight to the bathroom. When she came out 20 minutes later, there was something different about her energy. She moved like someone who'd been rehearsing, that kind of artificial calm people get when they've practiced a difficult conversation in the mirror. "Jonah, I need to talk to you about something important." I muted the TV, thinking maybe she was finally ready to discuss what was wrong. "I've been doing a lot of self-reflection," she started, sitting on the far end of the couch. "And I realize I need space to heal and rediscover who I am outside of this relationship." My gut tightened. "What does that mean exactly?" "I think we should take a break. No contact for 2 months. Complete separation so I can work through my issues without external influence." The way she said it was so clinical, like she was reading from a script. "Christine, if you want to break up, just say it. Don't dress it up with therapy speak." She got defensive. "This isn't about breaking up, it's about healing. My therapist says codependency is toxic and I need to establish my own identity." "Your therapist said that?" I asked. She hesitated. "Well, not exactly those words, but Owen explained how important it is to." "Owen," I cut her off. "Your Pilates instructor is giving relationship advice now." Her face flushed. "He's been through this before. He understands toxic patterns better than most people." I just stared at her. The pieces were clicking into place, but I kept my voice level. "So you want no contact for 2 months. What about the apartment?" "The lease has both our names on it. I figured you could stay here. I'll find somewhere else temporary, maybe crash with Talia or something." That's when I realized what this was really about. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too, explore things with Owen while keeping me as a backup plan and safety net. But two could play this game. "Actually," I said, surprising myself with how calm I sounded, "if you need space to heal, maybe I should be the one to move out temporarily. You can have the apartment to yourself, complete privacy for your healing journey." Her eyes lit up immediately. "Oh, really? You'd do that?" "Of course. If this is about you finding yourself, you should have your own space. I can crash at my buddy Jake's place for a while or find a short-term rental. That way you don't have to disrupt your routine or impose on Talia." She practically beamed. That's actually perfect. I mean, I wasn't expecting you to offer, but having my own space would really help with the meditation and journaling my therapist recommended." "And what about utilities, internet? All that stuff is in my name." She waved her hand dismissively. "We'll figure it out when we reconnect." "This is about emotional healing, not logistics." I nodded slowly. "Okay, if that's what you need to heal, then I support that completely." She looked surprised and relieved. "Really? You're being so understanding about this." "Yeah, 2 months no contact and you get the place to yourself to figure things out." I stood up and headed toward the bedroom. "I should probably start packing tonight so you can begin your healing process right away." Over the next few days, I packed up my essential stuff, clothes, laptop, important documents, a few personal items. Christine was practically glowing, talking about how she could finally have sacred space for her healing rituals and how grateful she was that I was being so mature about everything. The last thing she said to me as I loaded my car was, "Thank you for being so supportive. I know this is hard, but having the apartment to myself is going to make such a difference in my journey." Owen said having your own space is crucial for personal transformation. I just nodded and drove away. Here's the thing, Reddit. I am being supportive. I'm supporting her journey toward independence by making sure she gets to experience it fully. I spent that weekend in my temporary place. Jake let me crash in his spare room, reading our lease agreement very carefully. Turns out there's a clause about removing tenants with proper notice and landlord approval. Since I was no longer living there, it made perfect sense to take my name off the lease. I also looked into my legal options regarding shared utilities and property. If I'm not living somewhere, why should I be responsible for the bills? I think it's time Christine learned what real independence looks like. The beautiful thing is, she practically begged me to do this. She wants space, she gets space. She wants to handle her own logistics, she gets to handle her own logistics. She wants to discover who she is without me supporting her. Well, now she can find out. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Thanks for all the support. A lot of you are asking what my plan is. I'll update you guys as things develop. For now, I'm just focusing on giving her the space she asked for, to answer some common questions. Yes, I'm sure she's involved with Owen. The timeline and her behavior make it obvious. No, I'm not going to blow up her spot or create drama. I'm just going to respect her wishes for no contact while protecting myself legally. Update 1, posted 2 weeks after Remember Me. The guy whose girlfriend wanted no contact to heal herself. Well, I've been busy giving her exactly what she asked for, and the results have been educational. First off, thanks for all the messages and advice. Some of you figured out exactly where this was heading. You were right. So after I moved out to give Christine her healing space, I spent a few days really thinking about what no contact means and what real independence looks like. She'd been very clear, no communication, no involvement in each other's lives for 2 months. Complete separation. The apartment lease was the biggest issue. We're both on it, but I'd been paying about 70% of the rent because I make more money. She'd contribute maybe $400 to $500 a month out of the $2,100 total. I called Mr. Grant, our landlord, and explained the situation honestly. Told him I'd moved out permanently and my ex-girlfriend was now the sole resident. He was actually pretty cool about it, said breakups happen and he appreciated me handling it professionally. We met up, signed the paperwork, and my name came off the lease. Now Christine was the sole tenant, which meant she was solely responsible for the full rent. What she decided to do about that was her choice to make. But here's where it gets interesting. All our utilities, electric, gas, internet, streaming services, were in my name because I had better credit when we moved in. Since I wasn't living there anymore and she wanted complete independence, I figured she should have her own accounts. I called every utility company and explained that I was moving out and would no longer be responsible for service at that address. They were happy to schedule disconnection dates for my accounts. Electric and gas would be shut off at the end of the month. Internet gets disconnected this Friday. The utility companies explained that the current resident would need to set up new service in their name. Since Christine was now the official tenant, that should be straightforward for her to handle. I also realized that in my rush to give her space, I'd left some of my belongings mixed in with hers. Since we're having no contact, I couldn't ask her to sort through everything. But I'm not comfortable leaving my stuff indefinitely while she figures her life out. I found a storage unit place about 20 minutes away and rented a small unit, just big enough for my stuff. I waited until I knew she'd be at work, then went to collect my things. Walking back into that apartment was surreal. She'd really made it her sacred space. Candles everywhere, crystals on the windowsills, some kind of vision board on the fridge. It looked like a wellness Instagram post. I packed up my stuff efficiently. While I was there, I noticed she'd really settled in. Her routines were clearly established. She had groceries in the fridge, her skincare products spread across the bathroom counter. She was obviously planning to stay there long term, which made sense. Why wouldn't she? Beautiful apartment, prime location, and from her perspective, she thought the utilities would just keep running automatically. I left her a simple note on the kitchen counter. Collected my remaining belongings. Storage unit info below if you need to reach me about anything I might have missed. Jonah, and included the facility's contact information. No drama, no emotion, just practical information. The thing is, I'm actually excited about this next phase. I found a great little place about 15 minutes from my work, a one-bedroom loft in an older building with character. It's smaller than the apartment Christine's enjoying, but it's mine. No shared history, no memories of walking on eggshells in every room. Owen wants to be her knight in shining armor and help her with her healing journey. Great. He can help her figure out utility deposits and adult responsibilities too. Oh, and for those asking, no, I haven't broken no contact. Haven't called, texted, or reached out at all. I'm respecting her wishes completely. Edit. A lot of you are asking if what I did was legal. Yes, everything was done through proper channels with documentation. Lease changes went through the landlord, utilities were canceled from accounts in my name, and I gave 30 days written notice for everything that required it. To the people saying I'm being petty maybe, but I prefer to think of it as educational. She wanted to learn independence and self-reliance. I'm giving her the opportunity. Update 2. Posted 3 weeks after holy shit, guys. The chickens have come home to roost, and Christine is not happy about it. So it's been almost 6 weeks since I moved out to give her healing space, and apparently reality has finally caught up with her fantasy. I've been keeping busy with my new place, started taking some evening classes, and honestly barely thought about her. The no-contact thing goes both ways, and I've been focusing on my own life. Tuesday morning, I'm getting ready for work when my phone starts blowing up. Not calls or texts, she's actually respecting the no-contact boundary there. But Talia, her best friend, apparently decided to become her messenger service. First, it was Instagram messages from Talia. Jonah, Christine really needs to talk to you about the apartment utilities. Then Facebook messages. This is an emergency, please call her. Then she tried LinkedIn of all places. Professional courtesy, your ex needs assistance with housing matter. I didn't respond to any of it. No contact means no contact, even through intermediaries. But then I got curious about what had finally triggered this panic, so I did a little social media reconnaissance. Nothing crazy, just checking if there were any public posts that might give me context. Jackpot. Talia had posted a long rant on Facebook about immature men who abandon women in crisis. She didn't name names, but the details made it pretty obvious. Apparently, Christine had been living her best life in the apartment for weeks, hosting healing circles with friends, doing her morning meditation routine, really embracing her independence. Until Sunday night, when she was in the middle of one of her evening yoga sessions and all the lights suddenly went out. Get this, she thought it was just a power outage at first. Checked with neighbors, called the building management, even lit candles and waited it out. It wasn't until Monday morning that she realized it wasn't coming back on. According to Talia's post, that's when Christine discovered the internet was out too. Then she tried to call the electric company and found out the account had been closed. When she tried to set up new service, they explained she'd need to provide proof of residency and pass a credit check. But here's the kicker. When she called Mr. Grant to get some kind of documentation, that's when she learned my name had been removed from the lease weeks ago, which meant she was now solely responsible for the full $2,100 rent, not just her usual $400 contribution. Talia's Facebook post described Christine as devastated by this betrayal of trust and claimed I was weaponizing independence against a woman trying to heal. The comments section was, interesting. Most of her friends were supportive at first, until someone asked why Christine didn't have her own utilities set up after 6 weeks. Then people started asking more practical questions. Wait, she was living there rent-free while he paid everything. Why didn't she get her own place if she wanted independence? Didn't she say she wanted no contact? Why is she trying to contact him now? Talia got defensive and started deleting comments, which just made it more obvious that there were holes in their story. Yesterday, the posts escalated. Talia shared some passive-aggressive quote about toxic masculinity disguised as boundaries, and tagged it with hashtags about emotional abuse. But then Owen made his first appearance in the comments. This guy I'd never actually met, who'd been coaching my girlfriend on relationship advice, felt the need to chime in. Some men can't handle a woman's growth and will sabotage her journey toward healing. Real strength is supporting independence, not punishing it. That's when other people started connecting the dots. Someone commented, "Isn't this the guy she's been spending all her time with? The Pilates instructor?" Owen doubled down. "I'm helping Christine discover her authentic self outside of codependent patterns. Some people can't handle that level of emotional maturity." The comment thread turned into a whole debate about whether it was appropriate for him to be involved in her relationship drama. Several people pointed out that if Christine wanted no contact for healing, maybe she shouldn't have her new guy fighting her battles on social media. This morning, both Talia and Owen seemed to have either deleted their posts or made them private. Too late though, screenshots live forever. I'm not engaging with any of it, obviously. No contact means no contact, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't enjoying the show a little bit. The thing is, I don't feel guilty at all. She wanted independence, she's getting it. She wanted space to figure out who she is without me, I gave her that space. She wanted to heal without external influence. Well, now she can heal while learning practical life skills like setting up utilities and managing storage units. I never stopped her from doing any of this the collaborative way. She could have had an adult conversation about splitting expenses, removing herself from the lease, dividing belongings. Instead, she chose the no-contact route because it sounded cleaner and more dramatic. Actions have consequences. Choices have results. She made hers and now she gets to live with them. Meanwhile, I'm actually doing great. The woodworking class is awesome. There's something satisfying about creating something with your hands. My new place feels like home already. Work has been good, I've been sleeping better, and I haven't had a single anxiety spike about checking phones or wondering where someone is. Turns out, when you're not constantly managing someone else's emotions and excuses, you have a lot more energy for your own life. Edit. For everyone asking, no, I don't plan to break no contact even after the 2 months are up. She's made it clear where her priorities are, and Owen can help her navigate adult responsibilities from here on out. Someone asked if I think she'll try to contact me directly after the 60 days are up. Honestly, I don't care. I'll deal with that if it happens, but I'm not sitting around waiting for it. Final update, posted 2 months after original post. Well, Reddit, it's been exactly 2 months since Christine asked for no contact to heal herself. The official period ended yesterday, and I thought you'd want to know how this all wrapped up. Spoiler alert, it's better than I could have hoped. First, the practical stuff. Christine never did figure out how to get the utilities sorted while paying full rent on her income. According to Mr. Grant, who I stayed in touch with since I needed my security deposit back, she managed to get electricity restored after a few days, but the financial reality hit her hard. Suddenly being responsible for the full amount plus utilities was apparently a shock. Mr. Grant said she kept trying to negotiate some kind of payment plan or asking if there were any options to reduce the rent. When that didn't work out, she apparently started missing payments. First it was partial payments, then she started asking for extensions. Mr. Grant is a decent guy, but he's also running a business. She finally gave notice about 3 weeks ago that she'd be moving out. Mr. Grant said she seemed stressed but was trying to frame it as a positive choice, something about downsizing for a simpler lifestyle, and the apartment being too big for her healing journey. He found a new tenant pretty quickly, which worked out well for everyone. Well, except Christine, who apparently thought she could keep the apartment indefinitely without taking on the actual financial responsibility. The storage unit situation was simpler than I'd expected. Since I only rented a small unit for my belongings and anything of hers I might have accidentally packed, there wasn't much drama there. I think she was expecting some big confrontation about her stuff, but most of her belongings were still in the apartment when she had to move out. I did get one call from the storage facility asking about the secondary contact information, but I just explained that was outdated and to remove it from their files. Speaking of Owen and the healing journey, that imploded spectacularly about 3 weeks ago. I found out through mutual friends, not intentionally. It just came up in conversation that Owen's situation wasn't as stable as Christine had thought. Turns out he'd been renting his place month to month, and his landlord decided to sell the property. He got 30 days notice to move out right around the time Christine was dealing with her own housing crisis. The irony is incredible. She left a stable living situation to find herself with a guy who turned out to be just as financially unprepared as she was. When they both needed to find new places at the same time, neither one could afford anything decent on their own. Last I heard, Owen moved back in with roommates in some shared house situation, and Christine ended up taking a room in Talia's place, not ideal for someone who wanted sacred space for healing. But here's the thing that really drives it home. She never once tried to contact me directly, even after the 2 months were up. All that drama with Talia posting on social media, Owen defending her honor, the whole production about utilities and storage, none of it was actually about wanting to reconcile or work things out. It was about wanting me to fix problems she'd created without having to admit she'd made mistakes. When I didn't jump in to save the day, and when Owen couldn't provide the stability she'd taken for granted, she just moved on to the next option. No apology, no attempt at honest conversation, no acknowledgement of how things went down. Through mutual friends, I heard she'd been pretty active on dating apps, specifically targeting guys who mentioned having their own places or stable careers. But from what I understand, the dating scene hasn't been going too well for her. Turns out, when you publicly air relationship drama and can't demonstrate basic financial responsibility, people tend to be cautious about getting involved. That tells me everything I need to know about what our relationship actually meant to her, and what any future relationship would have meant too. Meanwhile, my life has genuinely improved in ways I didn't expect. The woodworking classes led to me joining a makerspace, where I've met some genuinely cool people. I finished my first real project last week, a coffee table that's actually sturdy and looks pretty good. I've been reading more, sleeping better, and my work performance has improved enough that my boss mentioned potential promotion opportunities. Turns out, when you're not constantly managing relationship drama, you have bandwidth for other things. No contact worked exactly as intended. It gave both of us the space to see who we really were without the other person. She turned out to be someone who wanted independence without accountability. I turned out to be someone who was stronger and more capable than I'd realized. Some people need to learn lessons the hard way. I'm just glad I'm not responsible for teaching them anymore. This will probably be my last post about this situation. I'm closing this chapter and moving forward. Thanks again for all the support, Reddit. You guys helped me see this situation clearly when I was still too close to it.